Killing Floor is one of my favorite games of all time. I've put over 200 hours into that game and it never gets old. So when I heard about Killing Floor 2, I was beyond excited. I immediately bought into the early access version and put around 60 hours into it at the time. I enjoyed my time with it, but it was early access, and as such, it was missing a lot of essential features. So I decided to wait until release to play any more of it. Well, on November 18th, the game officially launched, so I went back and played it again. In this video, I'm going to lay out the main differences between Killing Floor 1 and 2, and talk about whether or not I think it's an improvement. Objectively, Killing Floor 2 has better graphics and sound than Killing Floor 1 did. This isn't really a surprise considering the first Killing Floor was made back in 2005 as an Unreal Tournament mod and was brought to PC in 2009. Tripwire clearly spent a lot of time and money making this game look good. Blowing the heads off zombies has never looked better. The maps look amazing, and although I have my complaints about the maps, which I will get into later, I can't deny that the textures and aesthetic of the maps look wonderful. Perhaps the most important change they made is that the blood stays on the walls, floors, and ceilings for the whole game. You can and will absolutely drench everything with zombie blood by the end of a match, and it feels great. One of the best things about Killing Floor 1 was the weapons felt good to use. Due to the recoil and perceived weight of the guns, combined with the Zed's reactions to each bullet, you felt and saw the damage you were doing with each shot, or swing in the case of Berserker. For the most part, Killing Floor 2 managed to improve that even further, especially when it comes to certain classes such as Berserker or the Demolitionists. The music is pretty much just better overall. I always loved the metal soundtrack in Killing Floor 1. Usually games try to go with orchestral soundtracks and capture the intensity of certain situations like movies do. But while ravaging zombie after zombie after zombie, I can't imagine having anything other than hardcore metal music in the background. Killing Floor 2 includes a variety of new metal music, which I feel sounds even better than the first one. It also includes some very high quality music in the menus and in between rounds. I have to talk about the traitor. In the first Killing Floor, the traitor was entirely ridiculous, saying things like, "I like the big ones, don't you?" Or, "You've nearly got them all, I want you close, babe." Then you'd get to the traitor and see a derpy looking woman just staring at you. That was hilarious and wonderful, and I loved it. Unfortunately, in Killing Floor 2, not only did they turn the traitor from a human to a futuristic looking vending machine of sorts, but they also changed her voice lines to be something that somebody would actually maybe say. To me, that's no fun at all. She now still jokes around with you, saying things like, "I hate to say this, but you died a lot." But I miss the old traitor. I miss finishing a round only to hear,
"The shop is open, boys. Come get me."
Personally, me and my friends have been having a lot of trouble with the matchmaking in Killing Floor 2. Killing Floor 1 had its problems when connecting to servers, but I figured they might have fixed that however many years later. For me, getting into a custom map without any friends in my party is easy, and it usually works. But as soon as I get a friend or two in my party who have the same custom maps installed, when I try to connect to servers, at least 50% of the time it doesn't work. Sometimes my friends even have to restart their entire game. This seems to be a problem mostly with custom maps, but as I will discuss later, custom maps are really the only reason I still play Killing Floor 2 at all. Now, when Killing Floor 2 started releasing cosmetic boxes for real money, a lot of people were up in arms about it. Personally, I don't care all that much. Killing Floor 1 had a bunch of cosmetic DLC, and even some DLC that included new guns, which directly affected the game. And yes, they did release in-game purchases before the game was even finished, but it's clear that they did that in an attempt to get more money to finish the game. If they started releasing content that actually affected the gameplay before it was even out of early access, then I would have been pretty upset about that. But as it is, it's only cosmetic stuff, and to be honest, I couldn't care less about it. Now moving on to the gameplay, the most important part. In addition to the specimens from Killing Floor 1, they added two more, not including the two bosses. By adding the Cyst and the Slasher, they added a more variety into the game. Even though those two specimens are two of the weakest Zeds in the game, because they exist alongside the Clot, it more than doubles the amount of normal cannon fodder Zeds that you can kill. I think it fleshes out the game a little bit. In Killing Floor 1, I loved playing the medic. You were fast, more resistant to attacks, and could help out teammates at the same time as headshotting Skrakes with a crossbow. The only thing I didn't like about the medic in the first game was how nearly impossible it was to consistently heal your teammates from a distance. Players move in sporadic patterns, so trying to hit them with your little medic dart from across the room was a challenge to say the least. Luckily, Tripwire realized that shooting players with a medic dart is not nearly as easy as hitting a Zed with a bullet of the same size, because the Zeds move in the most predictable pattern, towards you. Players, on the other hand, are constantly jumping around. To compensate for this, they decided to make it 10 times easier to hit players with your healing dart. The dart seems to home onto them, even if you just shoot near them. and as a result, it becomes much easier to heal teammates. For Berserker, they completely reworked the melee system. Instead of holding left and performing only 1 or 2 attacks with the same animations, they gave each weapon its own swing style, and you can cut the zombies at specific places on their body. This feels amazing. Cutting a zombie's head off is fun, but slicing them diagonally from the shoulder down to their waist is more satisfying to me, and a lot more bloody. Tripwire also implemented a parry/block system that allows Berserkers to reduce the damage they take from strikes or flesh pounds and even counter their attacks completely, stunning them and knocking them back for a short duration. They also added a explosive hammer as a Berserker weapon, which is ridiculously fun. In the first game, you couldn't sprint or bash Zeds. You ran at a set speed, and you couldn't hit a Zed's face clean off without switching to your melee weapon. Now you can. If you get caught by a clot, instead of wasting ammo or being forced to reload, you can bash them and free yourself from their grasp. Both of these things are quality of life changes that the game really benefits from. Because Killing Floor 1 is older and has DLC with more guns implemented into the game, it's hard to compare Killing Floor's weapons with Killing Floor 2's. But overall, the weapons in Killing Floor 2 seem less interesting to me. They went with a more futuristic style of guns and maps, which simultaneously makes me feel less badass for some reason. Some of the futuristic weapons like the microwave gun or the railgun have unique capabilities and playstyles. They feel good. However, a lot of the regular gun designs for each class are more technologically advanced. This means that they feel different than the guns in Killing Floor 1. It feels as though there is less recoil and less impact of firing certain weapons. Adding new futuristic guns can work, but changing old guns to be more futuristic just kind of ruins the feel a little bit for me. The maps in Killing Floor 2 are probably my biggest complaint. Just like they did with some of the weapons, they decided to go with a completely different feel with some of the maps. No longer can we fight in West London or a nice mountaintop with a crashed plane. Now we get to fight in maps that make no sense at all in terms of their existence. And that's okay, I'm all for goofiness, but it's a little over the top sometimes. Why the hell are we fighting in this underground castle of bones and acid? Who knows? Don't get me wrong, some of the crazy map ideas are cool, and I support that they wanted to try something new, but all they had to do to make this game even better was just to add the old maps back in. They didn't even have to redo the textures, they could have just slapped in all the old official Killing Floor maps on top of the new ones and called it a day. But they didn't, and now the only way to play the old classics like Classic Biotics Lab, not the new trashy one in Killing Floor 2, is to download it off of the workshop and hope that somebody is hosting a server with that map in the rotation. Or if you're tech savvy, you could figure out how to host your own server, but I'm too stupid for all that shit, so. The class-specific upgrades you get for leveling up are very cool. There are some awesome new additions that give you completely new abilities and playstyles, rather than just upgrading the damage you do or increasing your armor proficiency. It's a huge improvement on the perk system from Killing Floor 1, though I do sort of miss the amount of time and effort it took to level up a class. You now can play one game and jump from, like, level 1 to 3, depending on how well you do. But in order to have all the cool new perk abilities, the leveling system has to be built this way, rather than the way it was in Killing Floor 1, so I think it's a good trade-off. Instead of just having the Patriarch as the final boss, they added another boss called Dr. Hans Volter. He throws gas bombs, has a shield, steals life, shoots at you, and will endlessly chase you down with his massive robot claws when he gets low on health. He is a very cool concept, but I still prefer the Patriarch personally. Probably because in Killing Floor 2, the Patriarch is a huge upgrade from the one in Killing Floor 1. And let's face it, the Patriarch looked really silly in the first game. And although I enjoyed that, I have to say the new and improved Patriarch looks terrifying and I love that. He acts very similar to the Patriarch in the first game, but with a few improvements on his weapons. Changing the Patriarch and adding Dr. Hans Volter was a very good decision. I actually wish they had 3 bosses, to be honest. Lastly, the Versus mode. Okay, so the Versus mode is... it's not great. Nobody really cares about it, from what I've gotten, and with good reason. Basically, much like in Left 4 Dead 2, you can play as the zombies and try to kill the humans. I haven't played much of it, so I can't give a lot of specific feedback on it, but I was compelled to play it maybe once or twice and never felt the need to go back. Overall, I think Killing Floor 2 is a good game. Do I think you should buy it? Maybe. I think if you've never played Killing Floor, and you like shooting zombies endlessly and love blood and gore, it is a good buy for you. I also think that if you played Killing Floor 1 and you're a little tired of seeing the same things over and over again, but you still love horde mode shooters, I think you will like the game. But again, you'll probably be in the same boat as me, where it's a little disappointing and you probably won't put near as many hours into it as you did with Killing Floor 1. Anyways, thanks for watching my Killing Floor 1 vs. 2 review short thingy-majig. I don't know what it was. But thank you for watching, and thanks to BattleNation for sponsoring and hosting this video, and I'll see you next time.